Direct from Austin, coast to coast, you're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Robert Gaylon Ross, great to have you here in studio with us.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Alex.
It's fantastic having you here with us as well. Okay, just in a nutshell, let's talk about how the banking system works, fiat banking. Some of your books cover that. We carry them at Infowars.com. Kind of dovetail it with your other work, the murder of JFK, RFK, MLK, how they murder people. We've had 4 big CEOs killed the last 48 hours. The head of the Rockefeller Family's corporation was clearly murdered. And then what their master plan is. If they're able to bankrupt the planet and bring this system in, if they're truly able to be successful, we know world government's just the beginning. What will the world look like if they were able to get everything they wanted? So good to have you here with us.
I appreciate that. What their goal is to create the New World Order or the Global Union. And once they do that, it'll be sort of like in the medieval time when the kings would live in their castles, and in order to visit their friends in the other castle, they'd have to have an army to escort them to the next castle because the peasants were out to get them. And we're going to end up with kings and paupers all around the world. And there won't be any middle-class people. They're going to eliminate the middle class. But in order to stop this, in my book, I have set up a timeline for stopping them. And the first thing is we need to correct our voting system. We all know that our voting system is corrupt. And so once we straighten that out, and the only way to do that is to go to a paper ballot, counted by members of the local community. And once the count is made, then it must be posted in a local newspaper before it ever goes to Washington or wherever, so that they can't juggle the numbers once the results are finished.
And we've got you for over an hour, so I want to get into that in the second part. Get into solutions, get into your new book, hot off the presses, what the elite have done to America and how to fix it, by Robert Gaylon Ross Sr. But starting out, because we have a lot of people, a lot of new listeners every day now. The show just gets bigger and bigger. Thank God we're reaching more people because so much of what we've talked about has come true. Describe how fractional reserve banking works, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, what we're dealing with, and then currently your take on, because you're right, the Club of Rome has bragged, CFR brags, they want to bring in neo-feudalism, neo-serfdom. They want to bankrupt the world. They want to go to a post-industrial system where the armored government compounds in the countryside are where the elites live. They will have life extension technologies. They will have access to high tech. We are going to be put into a level of squalor, degradation, one-child policies, really kind of roving government systems that keep us in check, and the orderly extermination. But specifically, how these banking families got their control and what their master plan is.
Yeah, they've developed techniques in their money science. For example, the reserve system. A bank is required to keep 10% of their capital in reserve, and then they can loan out 90%. So let's say that you deposit $1,000 in a local bank. They can turn around and loan out $900 of that to someone else. And let's say they loan it to Joe, and Joe immediately puts into his checking account or savings account. Then they can loan out 90% of that. So as this keeps going from one to another, $1,000 can create $9,000 in new money. And that's the fractional reserve system. And it's done so that they can loan this money out at interest.
Continue breaking that down for people. I mean, in layman's terms, they get the license from the government, the authorization to just be able to make up money, make up liquidity, and then they buy up their own assets. They buy up products and industries, And then they got rid of the Glass-Steagall Act in 99 that allowed investment banks to become normal retail banks. And so they just directly gave themselves unlimited money and broke free of the chains of just the fractional reserve banking that already allowed them to take over the economy to just unlimited funding. And so they've now created tens of trillions of dollars more fiat currency than there even is real assets.
That's correct. And the Federal Reserve creates money out of thin air. And most of the money they create is done by electronic means, by just a computer entry into their database. And if they print new money, it costs somewhere around $35,000 for a pallet load of, say, $100 bills. That's all it costs them. But that pallet load may contain $5 billion worth of money. So that the cost of printing the money is nothing to them.
I've talked to economists because they haven't published these in about a decade. A decade ago, for every $1 billion of fiat currency on the computer books, well, there's roughly 3% paper money or coin money for every dollar that's out there. But I've been told it's even less than that, down to about 1% right now. So it's not just the print money; it's just all this fiat made-up money.
Yeah, it's the electronic money that's most of the M3 money supply is made-up money, made up out of thin air, loaned out at an interest.
So people will kill each other. People will cheat their parents. People will do anything for some Federal Reserve notes, and it's all just made out of nothing for a handful of private families to be able to literally own the planet.
That's right. And then you have somebody like Bernie Madoff that he really soaked his own friends. He took all their money and said he was going to invest it, and turned out he didn't invest any of it. And it was a Ponzi scheme where he paid the dividends of his customers off the money of other people, and he got up something like $65 billion he loaned out, and of course, now he's spending 150 years in prison for doing that.
Well, and he created the NASDAQ. I mean, this is one of the high-level guys, and it's been reported that the same stuff he's doing, that all these major firms do this.
But if you look at the derivatives and credit default swaps, that is a Ponzi scheme in itself. And in my book, I give the amount of derivatives and credit default swaps that each bank owns, the largest ones. And Chase
Webster Tarpley says it's 1.5 quadrillion. Is that accurate?
That's total derivatives, yes. Now, the banks don't have that. They have about 1/50th of that in assets. For example, J.P. Morgan Chase Bank has something a little over $1 trillion in total capitalization, and they've got 54 times that outstanding in derivatives. So that's a Ponzi scheme.
We've got a break. Let's come back and talk about what their master plan is, because they're bragging they want a new Bank of the World out of all this, out of the crisis they created. Then we'll talk about solutions with our guest.
Are you tired of losing your hard-earned savings in retirement? Does the continued loss of purchasing power through the hidden tax of inflation brought on by trillions of dollars in government bailouts bother you? Then please let me, Dwayne Daly, with Midas Resources, help you to protect what you have left. Call me at 800-686-2237, extension 115, and I will explain to you how to retain your wealth and purchasing power now and in the future with gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a form of currency for 6,000 years compared to our present fiat currency, which has only been in existence for 38 years and failing fast. Call me, Dwayne Daly, at 800-686-2237, extension 115, to start your protection of wealth today. I will custom fit the protection package to your personal needs. No amount is too small, so start today. Call Dwayne Daly with Midas Resources at 800-686-2237, extension 115 for your gold and silver protection portfolio.
Also, the mainstream media has chickened out. They're not responding to Charlie Sheen's challenge to a debate. They want to just sit up there and misrepresent what he said about 9/11. I got a pretty hot text message from Charlie earlier today. He is just sick and tired of these cowards. And I was talking to the guys. They were saying TMZ covered Charlie going in to have dinner the other night with Buzz Aldrin. Charlie calls Jim and says, hey, one of my friends knows Buzz Aldrin. I'm going to dinner with him. And then Charlie goes to dinner and it becomes a news item. That's something else. So maybe cue that up. Maybe after Gaylon leaves us, we'll play that if you can find it. What the elite have done to America and how to fix it. Robert Gaylon Ross Sr. This is a short segment, but long segment coming up. We'll get more into the book after that. But getting into the bankers, what makes them tick? What is their world plan? We know they're eugenicists. We know it's come out. The White House science czar admits they want to cull the world population, that they want a world government to carry that out. What will the planet look like if we're unable to stop these people?
It'll just be less than 1% of the super wealthy, and the rest of us will be peons from normal peons.